Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives.
Welcome back to another episode of FitBody Lifestyle. We're so happy you joined us today because we have a very special episode today. And before I get started, I just wanted to preface that we will have a lot of visuals on this particular episode. So if you're listening, it's still great. If you have a chance to go over to YouTube or to Spotify where you can watch the video, you'll get even more out of the episode. So I just wanted to mention that before we get rolling. Of course, I'm here with my partner in crime, Gregory D.
Which one? You got two of your partners in crime.
and my other
husband and real husband.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, my real husband and my work husband here, Drew Brannon. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to my show.
Yes. We're just guests.
Welcome to my life.
I feel that way.
No, honestly, like the three of us have been such an incredible team together, and this season for us at FitBody Fusion, we are a team. Like truly we are. It's been our most incredible year yet, and that's really what we want to talk about is how we started out the season, what our goals were for this season, and how things ended up turning out and why, and kind of breaking it all down for you guys. But truly, it's to me, I attribute our success to the team effort. Like all of us work tirelessly to take care of our athletes and to make this happen. So this is feel like kind of like a love letter to our team, our coaches, like all of us that have worked so hard to get here. So
You're gonna get him. She's gonna get so emotional.
I know.
I'm excited though.
Yeah,
she should.
Yeah.
It's literally been a culture shift, I think, this year. A lot of intentionality last year in terms of what we wanted to do. This year was more execution around that. And I think we would all agree we still got a lot of work to do. Not in a bad way. It's really just like the sport that we're here to talk about, which is continuous evolution, continuous improvement, and how do we get better? Not how do we rest on what we've done? How do we get better from here? And what does better look like?
Right, there's no end game.
No, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
I remember, we were talking earlier about Angela White,
Team manager.
Team manager back early last year. She was like, what do you think a realistic goal is for Olympia qualifications? And I was like, I think 12 would be like, she's like, 12? I was like, I think we can do 12. And then it's just cool now because last year was a big investment year, right? All of our coaches, we all really spent a lot of time investing in continuing education and really grinding and learning. And, with this sport, it takes time to see that kind of fruition come about. So this season, we definitely saw all that hard work we were putting in, last year be prevalent. So
and I would say we're doubling down on that. I think last year was establishing the infrastructure and the culture of continuous learning, and this year was execution in that zone, and next year is going to be even more so because that's one of the things that I really think separates us is the consistent going back to the drawing board and saying, is this still applicable?
For sure.
Does this still work? It's in business, I had this rule that among all my lawyers and staff is that if you're doing something and you don't know why you're doing it and I can't explain to you why, then we shouldn't be doing it. And the why of what we're doing is a consistent question back of why are we doing this? Okay, is that still accurate? Is there some tweak on this? Is some evolution to this? Something new that we might have learned or experimented with or practiced? So, which I love. I love that, and it's exhausting.
I love it too. And I mean, truly, that's what we're asking ourselves every single week. How can we be better? What did we do? How did it work out? And how do we get better? And I feel like that we'll talk about some of that, as we go along and talk about the year we're basically going to start at the beginning of the season. For those that don't know, we just had our cutoff for the 2025 season. So there's no more opportunities to qualify for the 2025 Olympia. So this is the perfect time for us to talk about the year. So we're going to roll you back to 2024 to when the cutoff happened in the summer, and basically what transpired from the FitBody Fusion standpoint. We did end up with 18 qualifications for 2025. We had more than 18 qualifications, but 18 people we qualified.
Right.
So there were athletes that won more than one show. So they actually,
double qualified.
And I don't know, do we know what the total was when we count the total wins?
20.
I think that's right. Yeah.
So it might have been around 20,
Yeah, I believe it's 20.
Something like that.
So it depends on whether you go back to, I guess that 20 sounds right. And I guess it just depends on when we start counting from. We would start counting from the cutoff of last
it would
year.
be because we had 2 win 2.
Right.
Right. So if we had 18 hard, single wins to get in, and then 2 athletes won 2 shows.
That makes sense.
Emmy and Amy.
Right.
Both won 2. So it would be at 20 total.
Yeah.
Wins.
Yeah. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Going through. So do you guys have anything else you want to say before we start rolling?
Yeah, you do. But before I talk about that, I do want to say part of our process for continuous evolution and continuous improvement is a survey that we send out. So if you're a FitBody Fusion athlete, we did send you a survey out about shows and your experience of the shows. That's one of the areas that we're really focused on this year. I think we've improved a lot. I think we have a lot of improvement that we still can do. So if you responded to that survey, thank you. If you haven't responded to that survey, check your inbox, and we would love your feedback. And the second thing I wanted to say is we talked about this yesterday. So let's do a check-in word for all of us today.
Oh, grateful.
Dang it.
Dang it. Is that your
No,
check?
no. That was going to be my word yesterday when we were talking about this. Excited.
I knew you were going to take excited. I'm just going to go passionate with, I'm super passionate about this stuff and what our athletes and all the work that went in. And I will say one thing to qualify this. You guys are seeing the champions here that we're going to put on the screen. Know that there's a whole team behind that. It's not just Jamie or Drew. There's a whole team behind that. There's makeup artists. There's spouses in a lot of circumstances. There are families behind all of these athletes that are helping them to put that package on stage. So our saying is that great accomplishments are not made by great individuals. They're made by great teams. And the team behind these people, just know that when you're looking at that person on stage, imagine a whole group of people behind them, both coaches, makeup artists, the gyms that they train at, the friends that they have, the family that they have. It is a complete team effort. So,
and we're going to talk about, there's a couple ones where we won 2 shows in a weekend.
That's right.
Out the gate, or big pro qualifiers. We won multiple overalls at a pro qualifier, but also got an LA Pro win, a Chicago, those big heavy weekends. So, absolutely.
Yeah, and at the end of the year, we'll go through our NPC breakdown as well, and all the pro cards and things like that. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. For now, with all the excitement coming up, with the Olympia coming up, we just wanted to, kind of do this as like our prelude to the Olympia, and we're proud of each and every one of them. I mean, there's going to be 70-ish bikini pro athletes, best in the world, up on that stage. So it's going to be an amazing event. If you're not going, go. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
So,
and if you can't go, get the live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Live stream.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I'll go ahead and get us started. So our first Olympian of the 2025 Olympia qualification series.
I just want to call out that you worked the technology really well there, wife.
Wow.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
The producer gave Jamie the remote, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's such a great idea, but it worked out.
Where's the faith? Where's the
our
faith? I'm good at some things. I'm not so good at other things, but that's why we're a team, right?
That's it.
So I call him my it guy. He's my IT guy. Anyway, so it's Miss Deanna Dang.
First time Olympia qualification.
Yes, first time Olympia qualification. So proud of her. It was the first Olympia qualifier of the season.
Yep.
So she won the first show out of the gate. She had already been competing. I think she had done
A few shows.
like 3 shows, maybe 3-4 shows prior.
So she did. So first of all, she's been competing since 2015. She turned pro at the 2021 USA Championships. In 2024, she did the Sasquatch Pro, which qualified her. She was fourth at San Antonio Pro, third at Florida Pro, and 10th at the Mexico Grand Battle. And I did those in reverse order. So she went from 10th, then third, then fourth, then first. And then took this year off up until now.
Right. So she will be competing at the Sasquatch this weekend, which I believe when this episode airs is already going to have happened. So, so she took a full year off. Our feedback was to grow. She still needs some muscles. So, because she qualified so early on, it really gave us an opportunity to shut things down, focus on growth. So she's actually coming in 5 pounds heavier to the Sasquatch this year. She looks incredible. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and it was a good day for the team. We had 3 in the top 5 with that Sasquatch win. Excited to see how she does this year. Couple days, like
Deanna's structure is. I mean, I would say that she falls in that category of pretty muscle, and she's just got a structure that is so feminine and bubbly, and she got a lot of pop. Just a big fan of. I mean, you're going to hear me say I'm a big fan because I'm a big fan of all these people. So that'll be repetitive. But Deanna's look is a little bit different, and just tremendous structure.
Right, she does. She has a tiny waist, beautiful wider clavicle structure, which is really important in bikini, especially with the S curve. We're going for right now a really great glute structure, a little bit lower insertions. It's a little harder for our athletes that have those lower insertions because they need a bit more tissue on the glutes to give them. Right. So she did come out early on when we started working with her and worked with Drew in terms of like doing that assessment, really focusing on maximizing the training. And it has really, I mean, it paid off obviously for this show, and it even more so taking that full year off. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. Oh, and shout out to Tegan, by the way. Use your words. I do want to, as we go through this, and I just maybe put that out for all of us to just maybe call in some of the support structure.
One supportive husband to the other.
Yeah.
My man Tegan. I know. I feel you.
Y'all are really feeling each other right now.
Tegan is good people, man. Good
sure.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really awesome people. So very excited to get to see her tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Right. Oh, I should have gone to the next slide. See, there's me. My technical. I was talking about her physique, and now I'm going to show you her physique. So here you can really see, that shoulder to waist ratio. We've worked a bit on. You're going to see her come in with a little bit more upper glute, a little bit more glute fullness in general, a little bit more upper body as well. Those were our pieces of feedback coming out of Sasquatch, and then so we're working on delivering.
Her checking photos today, like her waist looks even tighter than it does here, which is bring out her shape even more. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Our next Olympia qualification of the season is Miss Drew Brannon, won the Legion Sports Festival.
Have you heard of this athlete, by the way?
I know her.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Drew is familiar with this athlete.
This was a 2-show weekend for us,
Yes.
FYI. I should know all of her stats.
And this was her second show of the season. Really brought a beautiful package to stage. I'll go ahead and flip over to her stage package while we talk about kind of what some of the feedback, on Jordan has been.
Drew is missing.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. I think I can get most of her stats. Turned pro in 2022. This was her
at the Junior Nationals.
Junior USA's.
Yep. There you go.
This was her 4th Olympia qualification in
3 years. So
3 years of turning pro.
Right. So she qualified for her first Olympia months after turning pro.
Yep.
And then qualified for the next Olympia months after that.
Right. Right before the Olympia. Correct. Right. And then we did Tahoe. She went Tahoe, and then Legions was her 4th pro win. Same thing with her. We've just continued to work on her glutes and depth in the tie-ins for her. She was the week before this when Deanna won.
I believe she was 5th.
5th at Sasquatch. Brought a very similar package to Legions from Sasquatch, and she was able to get the win there. And then we went to the Olympia after this, I believe, and 12th. at the Olympia last year. So,
And then she was invited to the Arnold.
yep, then we went to Arnold.
Right. So only 10 athletes invited to the Arnold. So that invite was a really exciting evolution in her career as well.
For sure. And we all know, well, we know what happened that week with Arnold, and just with her getting sick, it wasn't the best peak for her. She came super shredded. Loved the look, but
oh my gosh,
not quite the standard.
We loved her. All the judges loved her look too. It just we just were a little bit on the harder side because she dropped really quickly, like Drew said. So I mean, these things happen.
Yes.
Every show is different for each athlete, and every peak is different. So we're always challenged. That is where the teamwork comes into. I mean, every day, all day right now, we're discussing different athletes and, how can we maximize where they are right now and, how their bodies are changing. So watching her evolve from show to show and then, where she is right now is next level.
And two, from a coaching perspective, I want to kind of give a shout out for her because she's got a handful of pro cards already this year as a coach for our team. And, watching our some of our girls are also coaches for our team that are also Olympians, and how these girls manage showing up for their athletes, because that's something that's super important for us, for our NPC athletes, is our coaches showing up and still prepping and doing Pittsburgh and a handful of other shows. Jordan will be doing San Antonio this weekend, coming off a third place at RGV a couple weeks ago. Great road to Olympia for her and feedback. So,
and she's doing, I also think it's worth mentioning that she's doing San Antonio this weekend with one of her athletes in the same show.
I was about to say, I was about
two
to
of her athletes
well,
in
I
the
was
same
about to say,
shows,
I
right.
checked her in this morning while she was checking one of her pros in that's competing in San Antonio, which was kind of cool to see.
And I know, I think that I love that that's happening, because I think that's a stigma that exists. Is I don't want to compete if my coaches compete against my coach, and I think that's really a coach thing. If the coach creates the safe space for that, I know Jamie.
It is challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody can juggle.
Yeah, but we have the team that can support, right?
Right.
So like Greg and I are going to be in San Antonio this weekend, so we have our spreadsheets and how we peak athletes, and Greg and I will know exactly what's going on with both Nikki and Holly leading into this peak week. And
yes, guys, I'm trusting them. We do this every week,
Yeah, we
truly.
do. Well, in this next, so we were in Legions here. You and I were in Legions. And the same weekend, you were in Daytona with Ulia, who's going to be our next
Day,
one,
yep.
Right.
and a day.
Right. So we did get 2 Olympia qualifications
On
on
this
the
weekend.
same day, this particular weekend.
Right.
So, we really rely on each other and trust each other. I will say that, also, I do believe a lot of our success is because we're very hands-on and present at these shows. It is, while we can do a peak at a distance, you are at a little of a disadvantage. You're relying on pictures and videos and lighting and, whether or not the athlete can sit, we're very reliant upon what they're sending us. So when we have each other, Drew can do a video and say, hey, she looks 20% harder in person than in the video. Or he'll ask me, okay, are you seeing any striations on this athlete that I'm not seeing? We can be each other's eyes. So I think it is one of the reasons we were able to be so successful in more than one place all year.
For sure.
One of the things that I admire about Jay as an athlete is that, and I was just looking at how many times she's competed. I mean, she's been on the stage a lot. And she's a show. This is a show up sport. We'll talk about the new qualification standards in a separate episode for 2026, and it's going to be even more of a show up sport, which is exciting in a lot of ways. But Jay's physique this year has gone through a lot of changes. I mean, in terms of what packages she brought from the Arnold, which a lot of people, including myself, really like that physique a lot, but it was too hard for what the judges want. And then, she went softer for Wasatch, and it's kind of, it's what I call bracketing, which is the military term for launching an artillery, is that sometimes you overshoot, sometimes you undershoot, and then just bringing it back and forth until you get it on the target. But I shout out to Jay for kind of rolling with it and understanding that, the standard does change based on the judging panel that you get. It's still the standard, but it's going to be influenced by who else is on stage with you and how that makes your physique look. So she's had to really adapt a lot this year.
Right. If you didn't see the episode we did after the Arnold, there's some great information in there too, and some of the challenges we had with the differences in how close the judges were at prejudging, lighting, things like that. So we talked a lot about that. If that's something you want to go back and listen to, it's a really interesting episode. You can learn a lot from it as an athlete and understanding. And we will do an episode after the Olympia, same kind of idea, where we're going to talk about, what happened and, what the experience was for the athletes and all of the things that go into it. So, we want to give you guys the behind the scenes and let you know what's happening.
For sure.
So, as Drew already said, we had 2 shows going on the same weekend. We had Legions that we just talked about, and then we had the Daytona Pro, where we had our athlete Lulia Baba, and she got her qualification. I believe that she qualified for the 2024 Olympia just months before at the Florida Pro.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes, that is correct.
So, and funny story, she loves to compete so
Yes.
much. So she qualified for the 2024 Olympia, which of course was very exciting, and wanted to keep going. So we ended up having the second win, and then she was kind of in a way sad because she's like, well, now what do I do? It's a whole year till.
She likes to compete.
And the 11 shows, including the Mr. Olympia in 2024. So that's a lot. That's a lot of time on stage.
Yeah. She's a great athlete. My biggest challenges, and I'll actually go to, so we can take a look at the physique that we put on stage. I loved this physique. One of the challenges with Ulia, and this is where, having that hands-on site, she has a crazy metabolism. So we start chasing it sometimes during peak week where she can just get really lean really fast, and we're pushing food and she continues to drop, and we're pushing more food and she continues to drop, and it's a runaway train. And sometimes she's also very light complected. So when she doesn't have a tan, you can't always see how striated she is. There was one show this past year where I literally had her eat an entire jar of nut butter before the day before the stage. We just kept giving her more fats to soften her up, and that was tough. But
Well, I thought you were going to tell the story of the time that she showed up. She got a sunburn.
Oh.
And had
that was the same show.
That was the same show,
Girl
right?
power? Yeah.
It was girl power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for all the athletes out there, pro tip: don't go in the sun the week of the show. And tan lines are problematic. Period. But then when you get a sunburn and you peel, it does not look so good with the tan.
It won't stick.
Yeah, it just won't stick.
Yeah, it's really fun looking at these and seeing where they were, especially these that are close to a year ago now, and how much
they've improved.
They've improved since these. I'm looking at these pictures and I'm going, wow, they looked amazing, and they look so much better now. It's funny. I do think a lot of times athletes will look at where some of these Olympians are now, and they get impatient to be there already. And, from a coach's perspective that's been doing this over 10 years, like watching the evolution of some of these athletes, like where they started and then where they are now. I mean, these are years and years and years in the making. A lot of them, trained and, did other types of sports for many years before competing. And then even as competitors and athletes, I mean, the very first time I saw Ulia, she and I were just talking about this past weekend. I just remember, watching her and thinking, wow, what a beautiful structure, and what a pretty girl, and all of these things. And she just needs more muscle. And she just kept at it. She kept working. And now, she's got one of the best physiques in the industry, and, definitely enough muscle. Now it's easy to play around with her look because we're not just trying to, make her look as muscular as possible on stage, which is part of it. When you don't have enough muscle, we're trying to create an illusion. Whereas when they, over time, as you continue to build, you don't have to create an illusion. It's there. Like the posing gets easier, things get easier, but it's really amazing. And I think it's a good lesson for people as they're getting started. Be patient. Like this is a process.
She's one of our most disciplined athletes. Like this one, you just tell her to jump and
she's very precise.
Yes.
Right.
She's
Not
very
just in
precise,
prep.
yeah.
No. Oh yeah. Year round, like literally year round. So
she treats her improvement seasons are always a little bit limited because she likes to be on stage, but she does treat every day as day one. It's that day one mindset that we've talked about. I heard you referencing that, and I do think that Ulia is somebody who really lives into that. So for some stats that just kind of lend credence to what Jamie said, She's been competing since 2019, turned pro in 2021 at the North Americans. Like I said, 11 shows in 2024, and 3 shows this year so far, including Pittsburgh Pro, New York Pro, Battle of the Bodies. And Ulia, to her credit, she steps up, man. If she finds out somebody's in a show, she's not, well, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I love that competitor mindset of, look, if I want to be the best, I have to beat the best, and I have to be compared against the best. And she understands that and recognizes it. So she wants to be on stage in the big moments. And I really admire that about her.
Everything matters.
Yep.
At this level, the smallest things, posing is huge, figuring out the angles, and not just the angles. I think it's funny because everybody wants to focus on their individual routine, and that's really not where most of the judging is happening. They bring you out in small groups, turn you front, back. Really, that's where they're typically determining what call out somebody's going to be. And then during the call outs, we see people who aren't conditioned to do posing, and so they run out of steam, and then they start to maybe drop their glutes, so they're not twisting as much, or maybe if they get moved or they're out on the end of the line, they're not angling properly to the judges. And I just think about how much these athletes have worked at these fine-tuning details that start to matter more and more as you move up the ranks. So there's a lot to learn from these ladies.
Yeah.
And I would say Ulia has really, one of the areas that she's really improved is her glam, and that again lends validation to the point of everything matters at this level, because the glam does matter. We hear tan, we hear makeup, we hear hair at this level as being, not, it should be the physique, but it's all the package that you put there. Yeah.
It's all got to come together. And I mean, talking about like the angles and comparisons, like that's the biggest thing I took away from Road to Olympia this year. It was like sitting at different angles, and now like just being more mindful of sitting 10 feet to the right versus 10 feet to the left. Like not every judge sees them head on. I think between Arnold and how close those judges were sitting, and then Road to Olympia, it's a completely different physique.
Well, and to illustrate that, we were at a show this weekend. We had an amateur on stage, and Tyler was judging, and we went for feedback afterwards. And he said, yeah, just more shape in the front pose. And I said, well, by more shape, do you mean shoulders more square, more S curve? What? And he said, do you have the pictures? And I had the video of her, and my angle was slightly to the right of Tyler. So from where he was standing, I would be maybe 2 judges to his right, one to 2 judges to his right. And he looked at the video and he said, well, from that angle, everything's fine. But I could see exactly what he was talking about in terms of the shape in the front pose for the front. But you just got to be aware of that everybody's posing the camera. And this is something that we have gotten more sensitive to this year, is that every angle is going to change and shift how that body looks. You're not going to be able to shift it for every angle, so you've got to focus on the head judge, I would say, is our priority. But looking at those other angles left and right of that is a key part for sure.
Right. That was the case for Jordan. So today I was taking pictures of her from her weakest angle to see, okay, what did that look like, and make sure she doesn't have her hand covering her glute or something else that could take away from her physique. The details matter, guys.
Oh yeah.
Interested in changing your life or stepping on stage? Join FitBody Fusion today.
Experience the FitBody Fusion difference with tools, knowledge, and community support to reach your healthy and sustainable lifestyle.
We guide thousands on their fitness journeys, from seasoned athletes to those who are simply seeking a healthier life.
Our expert coaches provide personalized plans and unwavering support, empowering you to thrive.
FitBody Fusion is more than just training. It's a community. We understand the challenges of solo fitness journeys, which is why we foster a supportive environment where members encourage and motivate each other.
Join the FitBody Fusion community today and unlock your full potential.
Head to fitbodyfusion.com to sign up for a free consultation.
And do it today.
This is a fun one.
Good.
Okay. Well, the reason I think this is fun is, so her 2024 season, Nashville. Sorry, I should look. Yeah, so Nashville was her first show.
So Adair Libbrecht.
But yeah, sorry. I know. I forget that not everybody's watching the video.
Right. Yeah. For those that are listening and not watching. Yes.
So Miss Adair, or I like to call her Adair. So she went to Nashville, finished second, and then unfortunately, I wasn't there for her win in
Arizona.
In Arizona.
Arizona
AZ Pro.
Well, let me, before you go too far, I just got to tell a little fun story about Nashville.
Okay.
So Adair is from Canada. So it was my first time getting to see her physique because obviously we were remote coaching. And so when we got to, right before we got to Nashville, she told me she had gone to get waxed.
Her shoulders.
And the lady, like, she waxed her shoulders and literally took the skin
That's right.
off of the back of her shoulders. I mean, it looked like she had been attacked by a bear or something. So that was really an interesting, she ended up traveling to Nashville using a red light, like a face red light machine to like on her shoulders. And, you know, as she's walking through the airport while she's in the plane, just anything she could do to heal it. They ended up having to put makeup over her shoulders. And it was a
Which
whole
it actually didn't look too bad.
It actually didn't look.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with the makeup on the shoulders. So anyway, I just thought it was an interesting story for
Forgot about
people,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So
So we had Ulia with a sunburn last
Yep.
season. We have Adair getting skin waxed.
yep.
Yeah.
So so she did the Nashville show, and then like you said, she got second, and then of course we went to
Rising Phoenix.
Rising Phoenix, and then she won that.
And then what I wanted to point out was how she then went to Southern Muscle
Yes.
in Dalton the week before, and
The week before Olympia.
before Olympia, sorry, and did not have a good show at all.
She wasn't in the first call out.
No.
No.
7th. Right. So she ends up 7th. And like, that's really tough for an athlete going into the Olympia, you know, and I remember being there chatting with her about some of the things and going on her head and just reminding her it's one show, right? We see this happen frequently, and trying to protect that athlete mentally, not be down in the dumps about it, still giving her all into Olympia. And then the week after Olympia, going and winning Hurricane. Right. So it's like all happened within such a short period of time where you go from 2nd, 1st, 7th, Olympia, winning a show. And I think it's just a resiliency for her is the word I would use in that 6, maybe not even 4-week timeline. Just the highs and lows of emotions,
And that is part of this. It's a part of the sport. You got to be ready for the highs and the lows.
You got to learn how to lose before you learn how to win.
Right. And you learn a lot from those losses. So, at the end of the day, being gracious and then taking that step back. But, as coaches, it is a big part of our job and a big part of especially Papa Bear's job.
Yes, he's very good at that.
To manage mindset and to help all of us. Because, when you have expectations, what is it? Expectations are the root of all evil.
Expectations are the root of all disappointment. Or as the Buddha says, the stress occurs in the gap between your expectations and your reality. And that is something we talk about, is that, when you go into that show, you've got to go into that show wanting to win. And wanting to win is different than expecting to win. And that is a very fine line distinction, because if you ask me to objectively define that's impossible. I can't. You've got to have the want without the expectation, because if you don't have the want, then you're not going to have the confidence on stage, and it's going to affect your stage presence. But if you have the expectation and then that expectation is not fulfilled, it's a crash. It's a huge crash. And so this game, more than when we talk about how everything matters, this game is as much mental as
100%.
much mental. I think it's all mental, because the mentality and the mindset drives the off season. The mentality and the mindset drives the precision. The mentality and the mindset drives the habits and everything else. So it really all starts there.
Well, I wanted to talk about Drew's saying about your one off season away from how do you say?
Well, that's why I want to talk about
Go for
Adair.
it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, so go to the photos too.
Okay.
So I want to talk a little about this peak, because that was a really fun peak / not fun / easy. But so backpedal to like this whole like crate mode, and Adair is actually.
You got to explain what crate mode is if you bring it up.
So I've always said that I think an athlete's only one true off season away from turning pro, and then another off season away or improvement season away from becoming an Olympian. And then I've kind of redefined that as like a crate mode mentality. And if your job was to just eat, sleep, train, recover, and become, be a professional bodybuilder, like that is crate mode, right? Nothing else really matters. It is the forefront of everything you do. It is your reason you get out of bed. It's the reason you go to bed early to recover. It's your reason for everything.
And we know that's not realistic for everyone, but
Right.
this is what crate
But-
mode is and what we're talking
Well, but
about.
and it applies to a lot of things. It's not just
I think
bodybuilding.
I think it does though. I think if you have a job and this is your passion, yeah, you got the job is what's bringing your money in and what sustains you, and that is a priority. But you can have the bodybuilding as part of that makes you better at your job.
Yeah.
It's that
part of it, but what
right.
you just said is there's nothing else.
Okay, fair.
So Adair did this, and she was really the first one. Was sending training footage like every day, all day long, just like grow. She grew, and she grew at a rate that neither of us were expecting.
Right.
She
Almost
we
too much.
yeah, a
Maybe
little bit too much, right? And so she had a really interesting reverse crate mode between Hurricane and now, where she was still in her crate because she was doing everything we'd asked, but the crate involved sitting on a pillow and not really training. And that's very difficult for an athlete to go through, right?
Very
we just
difficult.
asked this athlete to train hard, just eat, grow, do all that stuff. And now we're like, well, sorry.
And she gets her first Olympia qualification after it. So she got rewarded
Correct.
for it,
For-
right?
for the crate mode.
Because she got to the Olympia and then got feedback and placed in a place that we wanted to move up from, but that meant bringing the muscularity down
Down a bit.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I don't know, she's just resilient. She's a great athlete. In some ways I feel bad with her training because I felt a little responsible, but I didn't think it was physically possible to do what she did, like full transparency. Like we talk about like always learning and evolving, at a book of data of athletes doing X, Y, and Z. And I'd never seen an athlete grow like Adair grew in such a short amount of time and grow like shape and density, not just one or the other. And her and I, we've had fun jokes about this now, but she did it. And now streamlined the look this off season.
She's coming in
She looks amazing.
Oh, she's stepping on stage at San Antonio, which will have happened when this airs. So you guys will already get to see the look of the new physique. So you'll see this last win and then what she's looking like now. Super proud.
For sure.
And I'm proud of her. And it's funny because, a lot of times we're proud because they're working hard. But in this case, I was proud of her for dialing it back and really executing on everything we asked of her. So it's not always, that doesn't always mean full steam ahead, especially at this top level. Once these athletes get to the place where really they have enough muscle, it is hard.
It's not fun for them. It's really, because this is a lot of their outlets, right? Where they go train, they want to go, smash the weights or whatever. And taking that piece away from the girls is very difficult,
I've heard it commented upon in several live streams about bikini's the hardest division because it is a division that is such a push-pull. There's the criteria, but it so varies from, it's not like men's open bodybuilding where it's the biggest and the most ripped, or even women's figure where it's the biggest back, and those other categories are far more objective. I think we'll see this play out in Fit Model as well, in a real way, but. On Adair, so just the stats on Adair, 2021 turned pro at the CPA, Canadian Physique Association, I think it is, not Alliance. Is it Alliance?
I think it's Alliance.
It might be. Okay, well, CPA, Canadian National Pro Qualifier. To evidence of Drew's comment that she's the most resilient, I was just looking at her 2023. Second at the Toronto Pro, fourth at the DC Pro, third at the Republic of Texas Pro, third at the Chicago Pro, second at the Atlanta Pro. I mean, bridesmaid, but kept going at it until she got that first place in Arizona, because she started the next year with the National Fit Show and being second place. So, I mean, for a lot of athletes getting so close now, under the new rules, she'd probably already be qualified for 2026, right? But the resiliency aspect of her is spot on.
Right. And I did want to, just one other thought I had is one of the things that I saw her do during this improvement season where she had more time because she wasn't training as much, as focusing on mobility, focusing on body work, focusing on posing. Like, it's not like, while yes, she rested more, she also focused on like the other things that she could do to continue to improve herself. So out of that has come, some better posings because of the better mobility, because of the body work, that she just did a lot of things. And I think it's just, there's a lesson in that, there are a lot of facets to, what ultimately goes on stage. So
And her coach, oh, sorry, great.
good.
Her coaching, right? And she invested a lot the first 6 months of this year, traveling to a lot of
several athletes turn pro as well.
And she's winning overalls. She's doing well with a handful of her pro athletes that she's coaching. So she shifted that mindset and focus on her, recovery capacity and then her athletes, and studying. And I do think going to shows and being, I don't want to say forced to sit there and watch, it lights a fire in you to just want to keep going. She was there in Pittsburgh, for Pit Pro Week. She was there at Arnold. Like she's been at these shows, going and supporting the team and being in the room with us, and we're checking athletes in and learning and things like that. So,
oh God, she was at Chicago Pro with me. The two of us were there. We had a lot of athletes, and I mean, she blew me away as a coach. She wasn't competing in that particular show. It just was 100% all about the athletes, and it was very symbiotic. We were just like, didn't have to say a word. We just knew, what the different athletes needed, where each of us needed to be. And I think that's a big part of, what we've developed in our culture is like, how do we, make sure that, we're all in sync so that, the athletes don't have to worry or stress. And so I watched her really, come up in that area, and we see her athletes doing really well as a result. So it's exciting.
And the mindset thing that I would really talk about here is the mindset of abundance versus the mindset of scarcity. And I used to, the metaphor I use here is prison cafeteria. When you're in the prison cafeteria, not that I've been to prison, well, I actually have been to prison, but not as an inmate.
I was like, wait a minute, is there something I don't know about?
I've been to a couple
You've been
prisons.
in a prison.
Yeah, I've been in a prison. Okay. I've been to prison, not admitted.
To a prison, not to prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at the prison cafeteria, there's a lot of this going around. You're eating, you're protecting your food, and if you're always thinking about what you don't have instead of what you do have, then you will get that scarcity mindset, and that's what Adair really exemplified. Was there was some frustration around some of her training details and getting things right, but mostly she was putting her energy into how do I focus on the things that I can do and not dwell on the things that I can't do right now. And if you're going through an injury, this becomes very, very difficult. And I can tell you from a lot of experience in this, there's a depression that attaches to injury, and there's all this thing, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. I'll never be able to do this again. That will go through your head at some point. And getting into that mindset of, okay, enough of that. Let's talk about what I can do. Well, I can do this. I can put energy into this. I can put energy into this. And it gives you a chance to really work on those things and hone them down so that when you do get cleared for the other stuff, all those other areas of your life are more in balance.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So our next qualification was at the Iron Games in muscle contest. And that was Lacy Rutland.
First time Olympia.
Another first-time Olympia qualification. She had done how many shows? 4 or 5 shows before.
6 shows.
6 shows.
Well, 5 shows before the qualification.
She won the overall at Junior USA's 2023.
Uh-huh.
I was there for that.
Yes.
And competing since 2021, and was 12th at Indy Pro. It was one of those things of progression through a season, which we see a lot. And I think you'll see a theme here with a lot of the athletes. But 12th at Indy Pro, 4th at Arizona Pro, 3rd at San Antonio, 2nd at Sasquatch, 3rd at Legion, and then 1st at Iron Games.
Right, and then
top 10 at Pittsburgh.
Top 10 at Pittsburgh.
Great first Pittsburgh Pro, top 10, fantastic.
Right.
And then she is doing Sasquatch this weekend.
Yep. Which Pittsburgh Pro, that's a whole nother one. We should have done a wrap up from that one. 8 out of the top 10 we ended up. I don't think we did a wrap up on that one.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, that was an exciting show. So the physique, the things she's still working on, or at the time was still a little bit more upper glute, balancing out that upper body and lower body. Great structure, tiny little waist, nice wide clavicle structure, those nice low tie-ins. Some of the things we talked about. Actually, some of the things we talked about with Deanna as well. So we were really proud of her and excited for her to get this first first Olympia qualification.
Yeah, and Lacy's a taller athlete, so
She is.
there's a little bit more to fill out there.
Yep.
And she does a great job. She does a great job. Stage presence is really good. She commands the stage when she's on it. So great energy, and good luck this weekend.
Yes.
All right. The next qualification was Miss Taylor Crowell. Kind of going back to the hurricane that Adair just talked about. The hurricane was our first show together. And this really just goes to show you got to keep showing up. You got to take the feedback, keep working, keep delivering. She was it was a smaller show, but she was in the bottom call outs at the hurricane, and then
11th place,
3 weeks later, something like
yeah,
that.
11th place there, and then came back and won the Atlantic Coast. And it was really just, that refining of the peak, refining of the physique. I mean, it does take a little time and some trial and error to figure out like what the exact combination is for each athlete. And man, she just really nailed it at Atlantic Coast.
This one, so I remember this like clear as day, because completely honest, I was struggling as a coach during this time of the year with Angela White. And I really liked who we were putting on stage, but like our placings were just not adding up for me. And I was really starting to doubt myself. And I know you remember this. There's that little hallway we were in. We were glazing the girls backstage. Mm-hmm. Remember that? We had the cardboard on the ground.
Yes.
And she was the last one that I'd looked at and touched her glaze up. And she looked at me and she goes, what do you think? And I was like, you're literally perfect. And like, I had goosebumps, and she saw my goosebumps, and she's like, really? And I said, yes. And I said that instinctually. And then I walked away from there and I was like, who are you right now telling her that she's perfect? Because you have not, like, your eye's been off, champ. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, but like it came out. So when I saw her, I believed it. And I was just like, and I told her too, I said, just go in there and put on a show. Like, just put on the show. And she ends up getting the win. And it was super. I know I kind of needed that too for my own self, like to be able to be confident in saying that without even thinking. And then her actually going out there and doing the dang thing was cool. And she's such an amazing athlete. Like,
I love that you shared that because I mean, that is a vulnerable moment. And I think it's cool to share, like, and now I'm going to get emotional. Like we are hard on ourselves. We question ourselves a lot. Like this is not an exact science. There's an art to what we do. And so like, we're always challenging ourselves, challenging each other, questioning, what are we seeing? What do they want? I mean, it's
not a question. It's not doubting. We say this all the time. It's not doubting our ability.
Right.
Tell us where you want us to throw the dart. We'll throw the dart there, right? But
we can't tell you what they want in the real time,
and that's the hard part, right? It's because like we put so much into this. Our athletes put so much into this, and it's tough. There's so many variables, right? Like we just talked about the posing, and if you're based on your alphabet and the last name, if you're hung out on the N on a comparison and you can't get a good angle for the rest of the judges, like.
That could be your make or break you.
And I think the faster an athlete can truly understand this, going back to like just Jordan for a second, like having pretty quick success in the pro league out the gate, we definitely took it for granted. And I will never take another win, either as a coach or a supportive husband with any of our athletes, for granted. And I think, you walk away, we talked about earlier in the episode, we had 20 wins, and it's like, wow, like how can you ever not be confident that? But truly, like, we cannot take any of these wins for granted.
Oh, there's a bunch of times we walked in thinking that we knew what was going to happen, and we were wrong.
Yeah.
So
Well, the wins are yesterday too,
right? Well, with as much success as we've seen, like that doesn't mean that we can always predict what's going to happen, right. and there are things out of our control. There's lighting things. There's who else they're standing next to. If somebody you're standing next to has a lot more muscle, or
you put a Maria Acosta in between a Lacy and a
Laura Lee,
right? It's like looking at Ruff next to Sebum and Logan Franklin, right? Yeah. Like it's like you're compared, whether we want to admit it or not. Like whoever you're standing next to is going to skew our interpretation of that physique,
right?
Because it's a reference point to look off of. And we talk about the Olympia coming up. Like we now know who's going to be standing against who, but that can 100% dictate your first call out or second call out you know, we have an idea of who's going to be in a first call out, but there's a lot that we don't know where they're going to be in the end of the first or the top of the second type stuff. And those details matter for that athlete's success.
Right. And our job is to control every controllable we possibly can for the best outcome for each and every athlete. I know people ask me all the time, you know, you have multiple, I mean, this weekend alone, you know, I have multiple Olympians in 2 different shows. My job is to look at each individual and go, how do I make you look the best I possibly can on this particular day? And then at that point, it's up to the judges and then the uncontrollables that will come about. And of course, that athlete to perform. You know, if they have an off day in terms of their confidence or whatever, like sometimes that can be the make or break. I mean, we've seen it happen. So
we're couple things I wanted to just talk about with Taylor. One, welcome Taylor to. Can we say that?
What the Taylor's? Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Taylor will be announced as a FitBody Fusion coach, and that'll probably be on Instagram before this.
That will
episode.
definitely be up before this.
So, but we're super happy to welcome her to our coaching team. Her attitude, honestly, is one of the differentiators, and I know that's what you want to talk about.
Oh yeah,
you talk about crate mode with Taylor.
I'm gonna flip to her pictures while you're talking about this, but yes, keep going.
She's just got the most can-do attitude of just you give her something and she will figure out a way to get it done. She understands the why enough so that she can execute fully. She's a brilliant person. She's an amazing person. And you know, what I was blown away was I did not realize she'd been competing since 2018.
Yeah.
Is when she started. So she's not new to the competition world, but 11th at Hurricane, then the first at Atlantic Coast, and then this year, and I think you want to talk about Tampa a little bit.
Yeah, no, should be a great showing at Tampa. We took we'll
second
talk
place,
about it, but yeah, second place there at Tampa, and then Dallas, fifth. And then this last weekend, fifth again, right?
And some really, really strong lineups. And yeah, I mean, I was going to say the thing, like Taylor goes in every show. First of all, you talked about the consistency with Ulia. I would put Taylor in that same, like off season, improvement season, prep, whatever. There's never a hiccup. Like she truly is like, this is her lifestyle. Like and she loves it. She's not resentful of it. Every single day she gets to do it. Like she just goes into every day. This is one of the reasons we wanted her to coach for us, because like her mindset is just so positive and strong and healthy. And she goes into every show like, I'm going to put my best up there. And
that's what they like. That's what they like. She's very appreciative of the stage, right? And that's going to protect her and keep her going along.
It will. And she's one of the. She's probably the epitome of the athlete who understands the difference between want and expectation. She goes into every show wanting to win. She
doing what it takes.
Is unafraid. She is absolutely fearless. Like I don't care who's in the show. I'm going to go. I'm going to do that show. There's a couple others that we have that are absolutely like that. I think they're all like that in their own way. Taylor's really good at that. Just I don't care who's in the show. I just want to do the show, and I'm.
Well, and also being very gracious to the others. You know, no matter what other people place, like very, very gracious. Like you deserve a great job. Right? Yes, truly.
Yes,
selfless.
Yeah. So we had 3 in the top 5 here, and then going back to more memories. Jamie, do you remember putting a helmet on?
Oh my God. We should have put that picture
I thought about
up
it.
here.
Okay, so when I was going back through and thinking about the year, I was writing some notes. So we did also, and we'll talk about this more, the NPC recap, but we did win the team award here.
Yes.
For both the NPC and the NPC Natural.
Yes.
And I thought it was so funny when they had you put the big Tim's crew.
Oh yeah, they had me. They forced me to put this like Spartan helmet on, and I had my glasses on, and my hair was in a clip, so it was like it's sitting on top. Like it was the funniest thing ever, and everybody was cracking up. We should have put the picture up because I look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fun day. You look cute.
I'm glad you thought so.
I do. All right. Is there anything else we want to cover with Taylor? First Olympia, super excited for her.
And, I mean, I would just say, like, the goal for Taylor really, like, this was an early qualification for her, and we just shut it down to grow. And I love that about her. And she told me that just the other day. She's like, if you tell me after the Olympia I need to shut it down and grow, you tell me and I will shut it down and grow. And if I need a year or whatever, I will do it. And I really, really love that about her. And it's not a shut it down and shut down.
Right.
It's a true improvement season. So looking at these photos of her at the Atlantic coast, and then, it actually would have been cool to see that next to her first show of this season, which of course was the Tampa Pro, where she got second. Like, she has grown tremendously.
Yeah.
Just, the physique, the presentation, like everything. She's really put the work in, and so it's fun and exciting to see. I think that's like one of the most fun things that we get to do, is truly watch the evolution of these athletes, especially, these Olympians that they're really dedicated. They're putting in work. So
I think in our Fusion Hack, we should talk a little bit about that whole concept and mindset around growth, about that, taking that time to grow, and what your expectations are versus because it literally is like putting clay back on the model, and then we don't know what we got until we chip that clay away. And so that's why every day in your improvement season matters so much. I'm basically giving away everything from the Fusion Hack, but I do think that expectations in improvement season can really mess with people, because they're expecting to see, these huge muscles grow out, and that's just not in this sport what we're necessarily looking for.
Right.
So
we're going to do one. I texted Jamie earlier. We're going to do one falling in love with off season. And,
I like,
and how to.
Perfect. That falls right in line.
That's really important.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, so that was her feedback. She took that whole year, and now she's back and ready to go. She's done a couple warm-up shows, and
she's back,
and she's prepping for the Olympia now. So I think that's the last one we're going to cover for this episode. This actually is going to be broken up into 3 sections, since we did have quite a few athletes to go through, and we didn't want to cut anybody short. We wanted to give you guys a lot of feedback on, what we saw, what we experienced, and kind of what we're doing going forward. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this, and we look forward to the feedback on the episode. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say before we wrapped it up?
When?
That's an homage to RuPaul. Everybody who doesn't know, who's not in the know, if you know, you know. What is it? IYK, something like that. I think you kids with all your acronyms. But the other part of the reason why we wanted to break these episodes up is because there's a lot of other stuff that goes in, and this is the stuff behind the scenes, behind what you see, that we really want to cover, and that's why we want to make sure we're giving due time for this stuff, because there's a lot.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anything else? There's so much, in fact, that if you want to see that, then like, comment, subscribe, leave your reviews. Let us know what you think. Let us know how we can better provide content for you. And remember the 3 B's.
Be good to yourself.
Be good to each other.
And be safe.
Be safe.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBody Fusion.